Good morning and happy Monday. I'm still doing a book talk from home, but I read some really good books, and so I wanted to make sure that I shared them with you. I've probably talked about them before because I did a reread of books 1 and 2 because book 3 just came out. But I'm going to start with Aurora Rising. Sorry, this video quality is so poor. I'm not entirely sure why that is, and I definitely have too many lights on trying to make it look better, so everything is kind of glary. Aurora Rising, it's in sci-fi by Kaufman and Kristoff, and it is a book about teenagers graduating from a space academy. So they work for the Aurora Legion, and their job is sort of a neutral space force. So they provide aid, they provide engineering help and humanitarian aid. Their job is they're not police, that's not what they do, but they do sort of function as intermediate sometimes. So this is set very far in the future, and Earth does still exist, but a lot of people don't live there, and we have found a lot of other types of people. So the day of what's called the draft, Tyler, who is the best ace, who's the leader of anyone, gets his top 4 of 5 picks. Like, he's done so well his entire time at the academy that he gets to pick the best of the best. Except only when he's supposed to be at the draft picking his favorites. He's in the fold, which is how they travel between places more quickly, rescuing Aurora, this girl. And so you can imagine the comedy of error that happens from there. He ends up with maybe not the best of the best, but they turn into sort of a found family, which I love. I'm a huge fan of found families. That was a lot of F sounds right there. So I really do enjoy them. I can't really tell you a lot about what happens in this because there's 3 of them and I don't want to give anything away. But I will tell you that his sister, who is his twin, who followed him to the academy, also kept herself off everyone else's team so she would go with Tyler. And their best friend from childhood did the same. Kat, their ace, their flyer, does that. And so there are 7 people on the ship, and they are sent on a mission, and it turns out to not be the mission they thought it was going to be. A lot of stuff goes on. It is non-stop adventure, and if you like any kind of Star Trek or Space Odyssey or any of that sort of live in space, things are different, you'll like it. So book 2, Aurora Burning. This is Cal on the front. He's their tank. He's the muscle, so to speak. He's the one whose job it is to protect all of them in case something goes wrong. And for the most part, he does a pretty good job. Gets a little complicated when he kind of gets real fond of her, you know? So his loyalties are somewhat divided. But so good. Again, more missions that lead where you don't expect and things that you wouldn't really believe coming, and heartbreaking things that make you cry. So to be clear, the number one reason I stick with a book is if I care whether the characters live or die. That's it. A plot can be good, the mystery could be great, but if you have to cross water that is crocodile infested, and I don't care if they make it to the other side alive, I'm out. I'm out. I just don't care. If I don't care if you live or die in a book, I don't want to read the rest of the book. Suffice it to say, I really cared about these 7 people. So the last book comes out very, very soon. It is not out yet, but we will get our hands on it as soon as it does. So good. So this is the gearhead, Finn. He is the one whose job it is to keep everything running. And so he also has an exoskeleton suit because his muscles don't work well in gravity. So he needs extra help to do what he's doing. And he's wearing these black contacts because his people live underground on their planet, and so their eyes are very, very sensitive to any kind of sunlight. So in Aurora's End, Again, I can tell you no things without spoiling it, except how very much I love this series. At about 70%, I started crying. If you know me, this is not a normal thing for me in books. I started crying, and I cried for the entire 30% of the book that was left. Some of them were happy tears, some of them were sad tears, some of them were, oh my gosh, what's happening tears. I really care if these people live or die. They was like my family, and I loved it. But literally, I had to put the book down at I was 90% because I couldn't cry myself to sleep. I couldn't do it. So I picked it up the next morning and I cried a little bit more, and I loved it. And I will be rereading it again. It was so good. So if you want to get overly attached to your Space Force people and you want to watch them go through all of the trials and tribulations and all of the like giant intergalactic universal wars, and you want to hope that they all come out alive, this is your series. It's called the Aurora Cycle, books 1, 2, and 3. I will have them back to the library very soon, fingers crossed, and I will also be back to the library very soon, fingers crossed. I hope to see you guys soon.